Good evening, this is William, and welcome to the latest edition of I Was a Teenage Daydreamer, where I discuss mostly music, some literature, some film, and some random things that I enjoy, and hopefully you do as well. Tonight is going to be a ranking video. I've got several that I'm working on. A lot of the bands have extensive discographies that I haven't visited part of in a while, so it's taking me some time to go through those. So tonight I've decided one with a smaller discography and albums that I've heard many, many times. And it's The Police, a British American band from the late 70s and early 80s. Stuart Copeland on drums, Andy Summers on guitar, and of course Sting on bass and vocals, and the principal songwriter who went on to have a very infamous career as a solo artist and also as an actor. And of course, the Police themselves were one of the biggest bands of the time, post-punk, new wave. They dominated the charts from the late 70s into the early 80s, and I very much remember hearing their songs on the radio when I was a kid. And I remember picking up the Every Breath You Take, the singles best of collection, and listening to that until it broke. My parents hated that tape because every song ended with them repeating the same chorus over and over and over again, which drove my father crazy, and I never had picked up on that until he mentioned it. Anyway, and then from there I bought the first album, and then Zenyatta Mindada, and then et cetera, on from there until I had all five. Anyway, so a band that I've been listening to for most of my life, a band that most everyone who listens to popular music or has in the past 40 years is familiar with. And really, even though extremely popular, a very experimental band. It's odd that some of their songs were hits. Walking on the Moon is just an odd reggae tinge song that does not make sense being a radio staple, but you know, those were the times, and I think it's fantastic. Anyway, we'll dive in now. Start off with my least favorite album, and when I say least favorite, I mean this is The Police, so every album is great. Some I just like more than others, but I will caveat that by saying at the time, or for a long time rather, I did not like Ghost in the Machine at all, and it still remains my least favorite Police album. But Ghost in the Machine, 1981, I loved the singles from this, especially Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, and Spirits in a Material World. I remember being a kid seeing these videos and just thinking they were great and what a cool band, and they were having a good time. You know, at least it seemed they were. And it wasn't until I heard Grace Jones do Demolition Man on her album Nightclubbing, also from 1981, that I really began to appreciate that song. And so I pulled this CD out that I owned just as a completist, but never really paid attention to, and gave it a listen, an honest listen. And man, it's really great, especially side two. The last couple of songs, Secret Journey and Darkness, you know, a very dark album. I mean, this cover fits it perfectly. Just very morose in a lot of ways. The synths, a lot of more experimentation, and a lot of the humor that you'll find on the first three albums is pretty much stripped away. Sting is very much going into his more political phase, checking out things about the environment and the world in general and politics, and things, you know, got a lot heavier and a lot darker. So those aren't necessarily the reasons why this is not my favorite album, but they do inform this album. So that's number 5. Number 4, The Mighty Synchronicity. Oh, blasphemy, maybe. Their final album, and a juggernaut of an album. I remember all the singles from this album being played on the radio as a kid. Every Breath You Take, Wrapped Around Your Finger, uh, Synchronicity 1, Synchronicity 2. All of these songs were just huge, huge, huge. And I do believe this album is responsible for knocking Michael Jackson Thriller off the #1 spot for maybe a week, something like that. Anyway, but another really solid, great album, exploring the new wave, lightening things up a bit, just a bit from Ghost in the Machine. And some of my favorite songs are not singles, and possibly that's because I've heard them so many times. But Miss Gradinko, wow, what a great song written by Stuart Copeland. Tea in the Sahara, Murder by Numbers, just fantastic, fantastic songs. Walking in Your Footsteps, kind of goofy. And Oh My God, a little bit slight. Mother, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's a lot of fun. I love Andy Summers as a person and as a guitar player and his personality, and I just think that this song is a lot of fun. And of course, all the singles are amazing. Synchronicity 2 is harrowing, and I remember seeing that video as a kid and listening to the lyrics and just being, whoa, what is going on here? So, anyway, that's my #4 slot, The Great Synchronicity. If you ever get a chance to see them live at the Omni in Atlanta, that I remember watching that video on MTV a lot, or that performance on MTV a lot, and it's really, really, really great. I honestly haven't seen it in 35 or whatever years, but I retain a really great fond memory of that. So, #3, smack dab in the middle, we have Outlandos d'Amour, the debut album, a very raw, raucous, loose, and yet very honed album. Of course, it's got Roxanne, a song that everybody knows, even if they don't know it, a song that I had in my head every single day about 25 years ago for years and years and years, and I would sing it in all sorts of different ways. I don't know why, but there it was. And of course, So Lonely, another staple from their live set. Next to You, Can't Stand Losing You, great poppy song about suicide. But man, what a bunch of great songs on here. Hole in My Life, Peanuts, Truth Hits Everybody, Born in the 50s. I remember that song when I was a kid at some church youth group thing, walking somewhere in a building and singing that song at the top of my lungs. And the guy in charge was like, "What are you doing?" And I thought I was about to get yelled at. And it turns out he was a huge Police fan, and we sang it together. Just a fun memory from being about 12 years old. Be My Girl Sally, again, Andy Summers comes through with something hilarious and brilliant. And then the last track, the instrumental Masako Tanga, love it, love it. Just, quirky, world-based fun. Anyway, so again, really a 5 out of 5 album for me, just not, my favorite of the lot, which gets us to the one that was my favorite for years and years and years and years and years and years. And that's Zenyatta Mondatta from 1980. Don't Stand So Close to Me being the big hit single. And Do 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 Da 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 to a lesser extent. Man, what a cool album. I remember being in college and saying offhandedly to some guys I was in a band with that the Police were a ska band, and they laughed because they were used to more modern 90s ska, and I played Canary in a Coal Mine and what's the one, Living in a Suitcase. Anyway, I can't think of what it's called right now. Man in a Suitcase. Very, very ska, reggae influenced. But just a lot of really, really great moody songs as well. You can hear them kind of going towards the sound of Ghost of the Machine a little bit. Driven to Tears, When the World is Running Down. Great. Voices Inside My Head, Bombs Away. Behind My Camel, which I believe won a Grammy for Andy Summers. And Sting refused to play on it. and Shadows in the Rain, which is a wonderful song. Sting redid that song on his debut solo album, Dream of the Blue Turtles, which is the only one I can tolerate. It's very dated, but some of those songs are still really great. And the companion making of that album is also fantastic. Again, I haven't seen it in years, but I watched it over and over and over again. Anyway, so there's my number 2 pick, 1980s Zenyatta Mondatta. Which means number 1, and this is a recent, takeover, is 1979's Reggatta de Blanc with the seminal Message in a Bottle. What an amazing guitar lick that is. And also the aforementioned Walking on the Moon. Again, this album is very odd and strange and experimental and quirky. On Any Other Day, written by Stuart Copeland, just doesn't sound like these are hit maker songs, but I love that song. It's so goofy. It's All Right From You, still retaining some of that punk feel from Outlandish D'Amour. Death Wish, again, dark, moody. Contact, Reggatta de Blanc, the song. My only complaint with this album is I feel like Reggatta de Blanc, the open or the second track, should have been the opener that then went into Message in a Bottle. I feel like Reggatta de Blanc really builds things up, but it's the second track. But I'm sure A&M Records was like, well, you got to put that hit single on there first. Lame. And then it's got 2 of my favorite songs by the Police, The Bed's Too Big Without You, and my all-time favorite Police song, Bring On the Night. Oh my gosh, Andy Summers playing in that is fantastic. Catchy, catchy, catchy. And then ends with Does Everyone Stare? Just the way that song builds up and gets kind of chaotic and frenetic and all that fun stuff. And then No Time This Time, another just fun basher that carries things away. So yeah, those are my favorite Police albums from top to bottom. Again, all of them great, all of them worth checking out. There's not really another album that I would suggest getting. I mean, they're pretty. There's the Message in a Box set that has, some early singles like Landlord and Fallout that are fine, and some B-sides, most of which, nothing spectacular. They put all their best stuff on the albums. If you're not really familiar with them, only the hits, I would say start with Zenyatta Mondatta. It's probably the most accessible one, or Synchronicity. Again, it's half of it is stuff that they still play on classic rock radio today. And anyway, so click like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this, but most importantly, keep doing what you love. Thanks.